And hello, I'm Uncle Snaff. And welcome to something a little bit different. All right. So, I am a newbie to Locksport per se. I've only been doing this for about a year. So, if you want to learn how to pick a lock, I'm probably not going to do much for you. Uh, these hands, they don't work like they used to. Let's just say they've got all kinds of problems. So, I'm still in the learning stage. I'm working on uh, my little set of fun. And actually, I just got ranked as a white belt, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm working on my yellow belt, and I know I could go up higher and faster, but one step at a time. I'm in no rush. The world's going to keep spinning regardless of such. I'm really enjoying a lot of this hobby. This has been a great hobby. So the last year has been a lot of building. I can't deny it. I mean, yeah, you end up buying probably a little extra more stuff. And a lot of the stuff I've had already. One of the things, though, nobody talks about it. I see it on all kinds of videos. I hear the questions all the time. I was actually on Sandman's Facebook page, and I got kind of a kick out of it because people are asking about uh, uh, different types of vices, holding devices, that kind of thing. And you know, here's one of the coolest things I love about Locksport. It's what you bring to it. You can create and build whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can. There's no end to your level of creativity, and it's really what you bring into it. So this isn't about you have to buy this particular item and that particular item and this and that and the whole nine yards. Nothing like that. This is about, hey, what works for you? What do you like? What do you not like? What's comfortable? What's not comfortable? It goes all over the place. So I've got a ton of different examples of stuff. So let's clear off some of this stuff and let's dig into what we got going on here. Very first thing, all right? When we're talking about what kind of vise, what kind of holding tool, when we're going to go pick a lock, we could hold on to a lock, all right? And that's real great. I have arthritis real bad, and my hands are, they're becoming dysfunctional, to say the least. That being said, these old digits, they just don't work, and that's why I'm not a super picker, and I'm never going to be a super picker by any stretch of the imagination. So I have found some alternatives to it. One of them is, oh, good Lord, I have to actually look this up. This will be in the bottom of my thing, and I have forgotten who it was that made this, but this is off of Etsy, and I just can't remember the gentleman's name that makes it. But this is a holder that's really good. It's great for us folks with finger disabilities, let's say. All right, but you can hold a lock. You can actually, if I wanted to pick this lock, I'm left-handed, by the way, so everything I do is completely backwards. But so I end up using my thumb a lot. But at the same time, if I wanted to, I could spin this around. I could also use my first digit like such. There's tons of different ways. But again, that's if I'm holding the lock. What if I don't want to hold the lock? What if I want to do, actually, what if I want to mount this lock into something? Well, I'm going to need a vise, all right? Very simple. So let's get on to this one right here, and I'm going to show you a brand name, all right? Vise, all right? Again, I'm not a lockpick specialist. I am, however, a tool specialist, and there's very few tools that I've never seen and or haven't used, and or in some way, I mean, I really am a tool guy. I've been doing this for 40 some odd years, using different tools and machines and blah blah blahs and you name it. I've actually had a couple of these throughout the decades, and they've come, they've gone. I've broken a couple, I've lost a couple, I've had one stolen. I mean, like I said, just I've had one of these for a long, long time, and in different various forms. I've had the vacuum bases. I've had all different types. what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you some possibilities that you can do when it comes to not having to hold it instead of using a vise and all the different stuff that's out there. So there's tons of different things that you can make. I am not saying that you have to buy one of these, and I am not saying that this is the only thing that will work and blah, blah, blah. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is create something. Find something that you like, find something that works. So let's get into this. Vise has got a whole bunch of different stuff. So there's different types of heads that you can put on this. You can actually mount one of these, which is a standard screw type vise that you would find on any workbench. This is, modelers and crafters and small machinery guys. They buy these things. They love them. And I've had one forever and ever and ever. I had just recently repurchased this because the one I had is trashed, and it's been used for everything, and so I want something nice and new and shiny and pretty for my Locksport stuff, so I went ahead and got me the newer version. Nice thing is they come with a 5/8 interchangeable base, and that 5/8 is really nice because that's a very common size in a lot of different ways. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But the nice thing is you can mount this up, make it nice and sturdy. It's not going to go anywhere. It's got these really nice little rubber bases on the bottom. They do stick pretty darn good. This thing does not slide around, all that kind of stuff. You can also get the suction cup base. You can get a taller bottom base. So this is actually the low profile. There's actually a taller, what they call a standard profile. So you can have it higher up. I like it lower because that way I can do this and work on this more. But it really works out nice in the shape that it is. However, I don't use this very much. Yes, you would use this if you're going to manufacture stuff. Say you want to do some, I don't have a blank or anything to actually do it, but say you wanted to make an actual key or something like that, you could actually use this with a file and actually file them down. And that's one of the advantages to having this type of vise. So this is a real handy vise because you can use this for a lot of different things. Do I use this specifically for Locksport? No, I'm not at that stage where I'm making stuff a lot. I do file stuff down from time to time. I do find it good for that. But I'm not using it to hold locks. So one of the reasons is this has got a metal jaw. There isn't rubber covers to it. It's limited in what it can hold and how it holds things. And so I just don't find this to be as nice as what I would like for my Locksport. And I do want to keep my locks in good condition and shiny and that kind of thing. I mean, I got this really nice, pretty American lock. It's green. It's not shiny, but it's new. I don't want it all boogered up, that kind of thing. So I want some protection for it. Well, what can I use for that? Well, they do have another vise type. So here you go. This is actually what do they call this? A split vise, or sometimes it's a two-sided vise or a centering vise. Is a bunch of different. If you're a machinist, you're going to go by a machinist name for this thing. They got a couple different names for this type of vise. Nice thing is, you can actually crank this thing in and out, open and close. It's actually really kind of cool. And again, this takes me way back. When I was a small boy, I had one of these. And I built a lot of models and did a lot of fine work and whatnot. And my grandfather gave me one. And like I said, I've been hooked ever since. So, I mean, I've had this kind of stuff for a really long time. Really not joking when I come to say tools are my thing. But that being said, this has got some really nice advantages to it. Say you have a square body lock. You want to lock in a square body lock? Knock your socks off. You can lock in a square body lock, and you can work on that lock and pick away and all that kind of stuff. No problem, all right? It's actually a pretty handy-dandy little thing. You can work on keys and all this kind of stuff. The other thing that's actually really cool with this, if you turn these around like I have, all right, you will notice that they have a little bit of a wedge on the inside, and it just happens to be that if you're going to be working on one of these smaller master locks and some of the other locks, Avis and that kind of thing, you can actually wedge it in with that, lock it into place, and this thing works great. I mean, it works like a champ for exactly that. So you can actually use this and hold your locks, and it'll hold things really strong. At the same time, if you flip these around, you pull these up here, you can flip this around, you can hold locks on the flat. Whatever you want to do. That's the beauty of this. This isn't about me telling you, hey, you got to buy a Panda Vise. There's other Vises out here. There's other devices that are out here. You can get yourself a machinist Vise. Those things work great for this as well. They got a lot of different types of stuff. So there's tons of different applications. One of the things I kind of also like about it is, say I wanted to do a video using one of my Sparrow cutaways, all right? I could do that. I could mount this in here and actually make it so it would hold it. I could show you the pick and show you the pins and blah, 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 and work on the lighting, blah, blah, blah. That's what this stuff does. So there's a lot of applications outside of you just sitting here picking. The other end of it is that once you have it in a vise, it does allow you to have a hand rest, that kind of thing, so you can hold your tension tool and do your picking, that kind of thing. Notice I'm left-handed, so everything I do is backwards for a large amount of you folks. You left-handers, though, will definitely understand that. Here's the other thing that's really cool. This is interchangeable, and that makes things really nice. Now, all that being said, that's that part. There are some homemade edition stuff that you can do as well. These little guys right here, this is actually not a part of the Locksport community. This is actually used in both photography, television, film. It is basically a clamp designed to clamp onto a bar, all right, and it's designed to hold camera equipment and framing, mounting equipment, that kind of thing. So this way you can actually clamp onto tubular stuff. I happen to be a photographer. I've been using these things for a bazillion years. I've got tons of them laying around. They're very, very handy. They have threaded end both 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch. I just happen to have a 3/8 inch double plug in here, and that is for some other equipment that I'm using. But it just happens that when you put one of these 5/8 bars on it, they're threaded at the ends. So you screw it onto the end, tighten it down nice and tight. It's got your nice little place where you can put a wrench to it and give it a nice little tight and make it snug in there. Then that 5/8 piece fits in that hole, and voila! Look at that. All right. Now, that's pretty tall. Whoops, bringing my camera around. That's pretty tall, and because that's so tall, not as good working. So let's modify things. Again, it's what you create. So all we did was just go out there with a hacksaw. It's only aluminum. It's not super heavy. So trim it down, get it a little bit smaller, get it to where it's more of a manageable size. And now I've got a tool that I can use for various things. And I can give it different pitches and angles and that kind of stuff. Here's the cool part, all right? Let's bring this in just a little bit, and let's zoom this in just a little bit, all right? So you can kind of see some of the different things that you can do with this. And this is what's really handy dandy. First things first, say you've got a mortise lock. In this particular case, this is one of the covert instruments. There you go. Good Lord, my brain was just about getting ready to die on me. Covert instruments, that's one of the practice locks. I love this practice lock. This is really cool. It's got plugs on here in the end that you can actually change pins on and that kind of stuff, so you can change this around all the time and work at it and do whatever you want. Cool part is that you go ahead and you put it in here. This is secure. This isn't going anywhere. And, you know, I can put a tension tool to it and start picking away. Boom, boom, boom. Pick, 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 pick. Have fun, all right? And it's comfortable. It's relaxed. Notice it's got a nice little handle for me, that kind of thing. I've even gone as far as to modify it, put some shrink or heat shrink on it so it protects my blocks again, because, you know, this stuff's expensive. So you want to keep it protected. So keep it protected. Give it some rubber coatings, that kind of thing. Here's something else that's kind of cool. You know, say you've got these KIK cylinders, all right, the kick cylinders, And again, these fit right in here, nice, fine, and dandy. You can go at it and pick at it, and again, put your tension tool in it, boom, go at it, knock your socks off. It's actually works beautiful for that. So again, a simple modification, a simple little tool. I'll actually put a link on line, but you can get these on Amazon. You can get these on Amazon. They're not expensive. Put a little heat shrink on here to keep this from moving around. Because one of the things that does happen is this. You'll see that this moves around, slides around, gets sloppy, that kind of thing. So make it so it doesn't move around. Just give it a little T-handle to it. That's one of the things that's really cool with it. And then, of course, you can use different holders. So let's just say you get a different holder. This I get from 3D Locksport. This is one of the KIK holders for his, I forget the name of the thing, but it's a holding jig that he's got for a handheld. It just happens to work great with that. So if you want to do this and have interchangeables and swap out KIKs, knock your socks off. You can go back and forth. You don't have to constantly open and close. Whatever you want to do. That's the beauty of this. The beauty of this is that you get to create what you want to create, and that's where the fun in the Locksport is, in my opinion. That's what it's all about. Let's just say you want to go to a Locksport meetup of some sort, all right, and you want to have a portable unit, all right? You can do that too. Here, I'm going to take this out just so it makes life a little bit easier to do this, but quick turn of the wrench, and I haven't made it yet, but I'm going to. I'm going to put a rubber base. I got some neoprene. It's gasket making material that you would use in automotive. You can buy it online. It's not super expensive. It comes in these really nice little rolls, these 1 foot by 2 foot rolls, and good stuff. You can actually cut yourself out one, glue it to the bottom of this, and then have it so it's permanently on here. Now it's removed from this base, and now you have a portable lock base. So again, you can go ahead and use this in a portable setting. Take this with you. You don't have to have that big round base. You can have the smaller base. That also makes things nice, handy dandy, and that kind of thing. Now, this isn't cheap. All right, I'm not going to lie to you. I probably got 100 and once you get everything involved, the base, this, you're probably looking at about 120 bills. All right, so all of this together is not cheap. It's not critically expensive, and the other thing is too, we're talking about something that's going to last you a lifetime. You take care of this stuff, it will last you literally a lifetime. So it's an investment if you're looking at it that way. I'm a tool guy, so for me, it's a tool and it's an investment. I will definitely forever, praise having an investment tool per se. Let's just say, though, you don't want to spend the bills on that. That's all way too expensive. All this stuff is just way beyond what you feel is comfortable, all right? And some people, hey, they don't want to spend the bucks or they don't have the bucks to spend. Something as simple as this, all right? I've had this on my workbench forever. This is just a Stanley model. I think it cost me $32, something like that. It's got rubber jaws on it. It's got a nice opening to it. It's nice and large. You can hook all kinds of stuff to it. Same kind of thing as the other standard Vise base. The difference is that this one actually clamps to your desktop. Now, why does this not work as well for me doing Locksport? It works great. It locks up to the front edge of the table. But remember I said about my hands? Oh, they're clumsy as heck and I drop things. And unfortunately, I tend to drop things off of my bench when it's so close to the edge. So this doesn't work as well for me for that aspect of it. But I use this all the time for any other thing I could be working on. Any number of things. Just I've got so much stuff that I work on and fix and that kind of stuff. These kind of tools are just invaluable, and they're not crazy expensive. So you can actually go more budget and get something like that. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. Now, here's something I'm going to show you that you're going to like as well. And this is actually something I kind of got a kick out of. And I kind of got this done a little quicker than, I took this apart quicker than I had realized it, and I forgot to show you this from the get-go, but I'm not going to tighten this down tight. Just get it loose. That's all you got to do. All right. Let's put that short little pipe arm in there again. All right. So this little pipe clamp is basically all it is. It's just a pipe clamp. All right. But let's change things around just a little bit. I want to practice using an actual lock. All right. So my family's in the handyman business, or part of my family's in the handyman business, so I do get these occasionally in piece like this because this comes from a property that's not going to be used. This lock is not going to be used anymore. It's not super expensive. In fact, this one here is a Legend. Yeah, these were, these are like $8 or $13 over at Home Depot. So yeah, super cheap and that kind of thing. This is, not a super expensive item. But check this out. Let's just say you want to practice on what would be considered more of a regular lock. Well, open these jaws up with this assembled like such. Whoops. With this assembled like such, if I can get my fingers to work right here, you can just go ahead and clamp it to that. And now all of a sudden, and let's get this aimed up to where you can see it a little bit better. There we go. But now you can aim this however you want, and you can actually work on this lock as if it was actually a lock that you wanted to pick in real life. So it would be positioned in the same way you'd find it on a door, that kind of thing. And you want to practice, you can practice. Get your turn tool in there, whatever turn tool you're going to use. I use top keyway. Actually, this one here, I think I'd actually use bottom of keyway. But you can do whatever you want to do and whatever works for you. Create something for yourself. You don't just have to rush out there and buy something because, somebody says, hey, this is the item you got to use. You got to have one of these. It just happens to be for me that I came into Locksport knowing and having these kind of vices and these kind of tools in the get-go, and knowing and understanding them and just realizing how invaluable. His funny part was the first time I ever saw anybody use one of these, I think it was Bosnian Bill used one of these, and I was like, hey, I got one of those. Hey, I got one of that. Hey, I've got something like that. Hey, I use that. I mean, it was just all made sense once I started seeing how everybody else is using them, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes great sense. So again, it's 100% up to you, and that's the beauty of all this. So this has already been a 20-minute video, which is way longer than what I anticipated it to be, but I wanted to show you some of the different advantages and different things that you can do with these tools, and some of the things that are out there and available and the stuff that you can do. And like I said, you can go on Amazon, you can buy most of this stuff for relatively cheap, and it's an investment. Don't think about it as, oh, well, I'm going to spend X amount of dollars and that's just too much of my budget. Hey, think about how long you might actually have these tools. If you're a younger person, you could have these tools for the next 30, 40 years. So that's the kind of investment stuff. When you buy tools, buy decent tools. You're only going to work as good as the tools that work for you, all right? So if you're buying cheap tools, you're going to get cheap work, and that's just the way it is. It's just because of the nature of the beast. That being said, I am Uncle Snaff, and have fun, keep picking out there, and like I said, I'm a newbie, and if you guys are new to this, and this is something that you find interesting, even if you're not new to it, and you're like, hey, I never even thought about doing that way, there you go. All right, I'm Uncle Snaff. I'm getting out of here. You guys have a great night. Enjoy. Rock on. And have fun picking.